The thoughts, views, and opinions expressed by this podcast, as well as its hosts, are for entertainment purposes only. The viewpoints expressed, although based on very real topics, are not to be taken as fact. With that being said, enjoy the show.
Hello, world. Welcome to Pardon the Politics Podcast, Season 3, Episode 10. I am your co-host, Jeezy, along with my partner in politics, Manny, and the chairman of Chaos, Chuck. Joining me on this episode, my brothers, how y'all doing today? How you doing?
Bro, I'm tired.
Really? I'm tired too.
Bro, we're tired. What is that? Why are you brothers tired?
Tired moments find me a delightful treat.
Hey.
Here y'all go. It's wild that we are like, well, it's still most of the world. We got to stop changing these clocks. We just got to find something and pick it and stick with it.
We don't actually change them. The government's changing it.
It's true.
We were proper people when we had to get that clock off the wall and spin the dial in the back to change the time either forward or back, bro.
We were a proper people when you had to hold the button on that brown alarm clock and go click, 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 click.
Every black household had the same clock, bro.
Same clock.
Bro, the exact same.
Same.
Even when we went from the flip clock to the digital clock, we all still had the same clock.
Bro, everybody had the same brown and black.
With the red numbers.
With the red numbers.
Yes, sir.
And that clock, I've never seen, it always had a little spot in the back where you could put a battery, but nobody ever had batteries.
Nobody. First off, you hear not our, because mine does not beep, but you hear a lot of black people's smoke detectors beeping. A lot of those hold 9-volt batteries. That clock was a 9-volt battery.
9-volt battery.
Yep.
My clock actually from the house went with me to college. So, yeah.
Bruh,
that's why we ain't had no battery for it. Who's behind 9 volts?
First of all, in a black household, you may be lucky to have a 2A. You may have a AAA, AA, but you ain't gonna have no 9-volt.
I mean, y'all speak for yourselves. As for me and mine, I got 5.
Manny, you grew up in Colorado.
I'm about to say you grew up in Colorado.
True. I thought y'all were talking about now. Agreed.
Oh, no. Well, hold on. I don't have any 9 volts now. However, I am at a very adult stage in life where I used to have batteries on subscription being delivered consistently.
Oh, wow.
That's a whole nother level.
That is a whole nother level.
So you got to think about it. Neither one of y'all have boys. So for me and my son, his race cars, as he got older, and myself, my video game controllers. And as he got older and started playing video games and having his own system, he's burning through batteries. Yeah. I'm talking about every week he's coming, Daddy, can I get some more batteries? I'm about to put you on some kind of something because I'm sick of you burning through my batteries. Yes, sir. I'm talking, and I was buying the good quality batteries, Duracell lithium for myself.
Facts.
And then he started burning through the batteries, and I tried to buy him a rechargeable one. He breaks the base.
Bruh, I do remember when I was a kid and they came out with the rechargeable batteries. I was like, yo, this is a game changer.
Bruh.
And we used to put them in the freezer.
Bruh, yes.
Yep. In a little Ziploc bag. Yep. Right there on the shelf.
Hey, man. But listen, I'm right there with y'all, man. I'm tired, too. So to our listeners, I'm sure you're just as tired. And if anybody that's up in Congress is listening to this, let this be the last time change.
Bro, let this be the last time.
We don't care about them kids going to school in the dark.
At all.
We don't care about nothing about no sleep expert.
At all.
It's all fake. You're going to be tired regardless. If them kids go to school in the dark, they're going to just grow up and go to work in the dark. So they might as well get used to it now.
I mean, and shout out to Arizona, who's pretty much just like, no, we're not changing clocks. Right. We staying locked in.
That's one of the few things they got right. One of the few of them. Because there's other things.
Yeah.
That could overshadow that.
Yep.
So to our listeners, welcome to this episode. We're going to go ahead and jump right into our topics for this episode and for this weekend. We had some very interesting things take place in the midterm elections that happened this past week. So shout out to those who won. First of all, shout out to those that lost. Because some people call some mean L's.
Caught some L's.
Nasty work out there, boys.
Bruh, it was, hey,
lock them up.
Lock them up.
Yeah, lock them up.
So we're going to start first in our great state of North Carolina. And boy, North Carolina primaries revealed something very, very interesting. Couple of people were getting punished by their voters within their own party for some of the decisions that they made. There were several Democratic incumbents that lost primaries, and the main catalyst to this was that they were basically punished for cooperating with Republicans on legislation, and it was sweeping across the board.
But let's clear this up, and it wasn't just a matter of bipartisan work to get a well-established, well-accomplished goal done. That wasn't this.
No, not at all.
These were veto overrides. And
exactly.
To which people had said, there's going to be a price to pay for this. And guess what? That rooster always comes home to cook eventually.
Right, like Game of Thrones style, bro.
Yes. And the veto overrides, what's crazy about it is with each instance, and each individual who lost, they were the sole individual who stepped across the line to help the veto override. So guess what? You're going to learn now. Go sit your hind parts down somewhere and sit down and be still.
And also to look at the locations that these races were. 2 were just outside of Charlotte. So Charlotte, the Mecklenburg area until you get to some of the outskirts, Blue County. So obviously they had people running more to the left that it made it easy to pick them off. And then the last person I believe was out of your neck of the woods, Rocky Mount.
I was about to say, hey. glad you extended it out.
Yeah, it was.
Whoa.
Hey, Paul, see.
Whoa, see.
Bruh.
Hey, we not even 10 minutes in. We're not even 10 minutes in.
But yes, out of Rocky Mount, my hometown, there was a mean L that was caught there, brother. You know,
but
so
that veto was wild in general because you wanted to have school teachers with handguns in the classroom, and that's wild.
When that whole idea came about, not just in North Carolina, but throughout the country, it really befuddled me because you have trained officers who struggle with the proper usage, application, and just discharging of handguns. Now you're going to put these scary individuals in the classroom with these handguns.
Message.
You want a teacher to go from talking to little Timmy and his 3 apples, trying to figure out why this child keeps saying 10, to now being a truly functional sharpshooter? Come on now.
Well, part of it is their lesson plan. They're going to have to incorporate cleaning their gun regularly, making sure that their clips are full and that there's not one in the chamber when they walk into the classroom.
What the stress that some of these teachers go through, you got to make sure they don't use it on the students.
Which is a real possibility. You know,
look, we see how some of these kids can get aggressive now, and you know some of the physical altercations they may have. You know, you're bringing in a whole nother slew of problems by having this. I don't understand why this was even imagined to be a good idea. Get more school resource officers. You know, there's other ways to tackle this.
At least
actual gun laws to stop the problem in the first place.
Whoa. You're thinking too logically.
Sorry, brother.
But I think you're right. Like, if this is truly, you think the solution, why not put people there who it's their only job? Only job. They don't have to think about anything else but protecting the school.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't get it. Common sense ain't so common from what I was told.
You were told good, brother. You were told very good. Yeah.
Well, I think also too when you look at North Carolina and the results that happened from the primary, what were your thoughts on our brother Roy Cooper and the way that his race went down?
Well, before Manny goes, I'm just gonna say Why did y'all waste your time and money even in this situation? Like, why?
So I'll start with the simple side. Let's start on the Republican side on that. Michael Whatley, I think he won with at least 65% of the vote.
Yeah.
That's already an extremely comfortable landslide.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we were talking right before, returns started coming in. Jeezy asked me, he's like, how much do you think Roy's going to win by? I said, he's going to be comfortably in the 60s.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, if I was running against Roy as a single person, a one-on-one race, and I would have seen Roy Cooper got 92% and I got 8, I'd have been upset. Right. But the fact that remaining 8% was spread against 4 other people, me and Roy going to fight. Like just out of principle.
No,
like,
I'm fighting.
Lacking.
I'm not fighting Roy.
No,
I'm fighting whoever talked me into this.
like Charleston White said, if I wake up and somebody knock me out and y'all got them phones out, I'm going after y'all that's holding them phones. Nah, y'all meant me to go out here and knew I was gonna get beat like this. Oh, bruh, that watch party is about to get nasty, bruh.
It's gonna be a different type of watching.
Look, and Chuck was there when I lost, and I got blown out about 2-1.
Ooh.
That was. But I won't happy. I won't happy at all. I was like, dang, but to 92%,
bro,
insane,
bro,
insane.
And even from that, when you were talking about the comfortable lead or landslide that both of these candidates were going to win by, when I saw Roy with 92, I thought, well, when it comes down to it, the Republican candidate, I don't think he got a chance either. I mean, you want to see these numbers pretty, like, I would think you don't want to see them that extreme. But if I'm going against somebody who got 92%,
but 92 from his own party, this was expected. Like when Roy Cooper stepped into this race, the only person I think that was vocally running was Wiley Nickel. And you saw Wiley within, I would say, a week, grabbed his hat and his coat and made his way down to the Wake County District Attorney race. Because he's like, I don't want none of this smoke.
Yeah. But Roy's already a name that, from North Carolina as a governor. I mean, he's won those elections pretty well.
Roy ain't never lost an election.
Yeah.
So here's what I would say to that point, G's, that you brought up is where and I think Manny was alluding to this, you have to be careful in the numbers. Yeah. And as far as we're looking at the percentage, but if it's 92% of, and I'm just throwing arbitrary numbers out there, if it's 92% of 100,000 on the Democratic side, and Whatley had 64% of 250,000 on the Republican side, I dog walked my opponents, but they had a bigger showing on their end versus us. And actually, we'll address that dynamic again a little later. But you have to be careful with the numbers. And I saw a report that primary voting actually was up comparable to previous years.
It was. So looking at this race being a midterm, non-presidential year, the turnout was about 19.6%. Still bad from a standpoint of how many people voted, but it's a new midterm primary record in North Carolina with upwards of 1.5 million people having turned out in the primaries. So
when you look at how things shaped up, and I know we've said it before, man, you've spoken on it quite a bit, of just how complex North Carolina is. And certainly you cannot look at North Carolina and look at any other state. We're a very unique state in how we vote. Do you believe that the results of what you saw in the primaries in North Carolina, has there been anything that stands out to you as a signal of what may be to come when we get to 2028?
I mean, I think 2028 is far too far in the future. We got to even focus on November. And from that standpoint, I don't know who's going to win in November.
That's what I meant to say, November. Yeah, I apologize, brother.
Yeah, I don't know who's going to win this go round because of how strange North Carolina is. But the reality of it is that Roy Cooper has won as governor with Trump on the ballot.
Yeah.
That's going to be hard in general.
And that was the big Trump hype train.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I can't pinpoint it. Now, if you look at money, cash on hand right now, Cooper has about 14 million. Watley has 2.5 million. This Senate race is going to be the most expensive in the country. And I think it'll get real interesting to see how these party apparatuses come to play. I think on the Dem side, you're going to see them having to make a choice about which Senate seats they're going to be in play with. I think if you look at Texas, how much is the Dem leadership going to invest in there? Because every dollar you invest in Texas is a dollar that's going to be taken away from North Carolina. And North Carolina is a purple state. We swing back and forth. But this race was going to be here's where I think the big differential is going to be is how the economy plays out in North Carolina. Because it was going to be a tight race even if the economy was good. But now that the economy is bad, how does Watley navigate around this? Now, I know Watley. He is a very smart political operator. So he knows North Carolina. He understands some of the dynamics. He's got to be able to step around this.
Yeah.
And you also see it with the attacks. This is why the state of this race in the primaries was never in question, just because everyone knew Trump endorsed Watley. So that pretty much wrapped it up on who was going to be the nominee here. But it's going to be a close one.
It's going to be interesting, man. I can't wait to see how it plays out. And I think that, it'll definitely produce some results that I think will give us some content to talk about, man, because North Carolina is a very, very unique state. I think that we are one of the only few that can go Democrat across the board and vote for a Republican president. I don't think any state has that type of motion. And I've had people ask about, when I travel to Maryland, where my wife is from, and they're like, hey, North Carolina, man, you guys can go either way. And I'm like, look, it's a very much red state if you live here, but it has its Democratic hot pots that are within the state that make it such a unique state when it comes to politics.
Yeah.
And where I think Roy has an advantage with him being in the governor's seat, and he has truly been a governor for the people.
Yeah.
And for the people of North Carolina, although he was Democratic, there were many things that he did, and even before that, when he Attorney General.
Yeah, Attorney General. Yep.
He was about the people, and so that is going to be a strong point of contention for Watley to get past in this race. But it's going to be very interesting for sure.
Yeah, man. I definitely like the fact that when you look at Roy, he's the hometown boy. I mean, there's nothing flashy about Roy. His upbringing ain't flashy. I think he grew up in rural, Nash County. Not I think
on the other side of the railroad.
Yes, sir. Mom was a public school teacher. Like there's nothing flashy about Roy. Roy is he's a true Eastern North Carolina boy. Like through and through. And that resonates well. And I think that's the only reason, to your point, Chuck, that he's had the record he's had and been able to do as well as he's done. And it'll be interesting to see how Watley tries to navigate that, because I don't believe that that's not an area where he can get an upper hand on Roy. He's going to have to try something else.
You see a couple of things that are already trying to hang on Roy. Because fortunately for Republicans in this standpoint, you have some type of record you can attempt to pick apart. Yeah. It's going to be rough to do. But I think if you look at Cooper's central message right now, he's doing this tour called Make Stuff Cost Less Tour. So he's really driving back to the affordability. Here's where I think Michael Watley has an opportunity depending on how he plays it. First, I think his first decision is how close he's going to align himself with Trump. I think that is a question
That's a fact.
that he's got an answer. And why I say that is because a poll that was done in like mid 2025 when he announced said that 2/3 of North Carolinians had never heard of him, which is a double-edged sword.
Yikes.
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword because, again, 2025 is still a long time. It's still a long time. After you become the party's nominee, people get to know you. So he has an opportunity to try to introduce himself to the people of North Carolina in a specific way. So that's
but to that point, real quick. But isn't that an issue that we said that Kamala Harris had?
But the difference is he has time.
He's got time, and he's not a black woman. Like, if we're being like
That.
like if we're just there's a lot more grace.
No, you're 1,000% correct.
There's a lot more grace that Whatley is going to have that Kamala
You're 1,000% correct.
That Kamala didn't have. So we'll see.
But to your point in how closely he aligns himself with Trump, and I won't delve into this too much because it'll kind of steer us into another topic that we have. But with Roy talking about making things affordable in that affordability lane, and these gas prices going up,
bro. Can they get much higher?
so high.
Bro, them jumps and them gas prices is crazy. I swear I was pumping gas and seeing it jump while I was pumping. I was like, bro, let me get out of here.
But
they got me for $3.49 on the first $20 I put in. That second half they charged me $3.69.
I have not paid $40 to fill up my car in years.
Bro.
Just the other day, I ended up paying $42 and some change and had an attitude the whole time.
Man, making I ain't want to go nowhere.
I saw gas when I went to work on Friday right by my house at $3.69 over, and I was like, "Oh, I got a half tank. I'll deal with this towards the end of the week."
Oh yeah,
I came home and saw gas had hopped up to $3, and I said, filled up my car, went got my wife's car, came back, filled it up. When we went out the next morning, it was at $3.20, and the other gas station a little bit deeper in was at $3.49.
Yeah, that's very similar. Sunday, right after everything popped off, I stopped at Sam's Club and got gas, and it was $2.57. And I was like, boom, okay, boom, get my gas, go about my business. And the very next morning, it was over $3 by my house. Of course, Sam's is going to have the lower gas of most gas stations, but the gas station right down the street from my house where I normally get gas from was at $3. And I was like, man. And then by midweek, it was $3.30. And I was like, So, yeah.
Bruh.
But we'll get to that piece a little bit later in the pod.
Bruh. Well, since we talked about North Carolina, I think it's only fitting that we go ahead and head down to the big state of Texas, because I believe there was some of the biggest political shockwaves that happened in the state of Texas. First being that Dan Crenshaw lost his primary to a Trump-aligned challenger after he criticized, which I believe he had heavy criticism of Trump and some of the things he were doing, and looks like he went against the big chief. He got the big axe.
Yeah, that was in Texas. Texas is an interesting state as well.
It's becoming very interesting.
And very interesting, especially in the aspect of what pocket is still heavily fooling with Trump and what pocket is not. And so, it's very interesting.
I think Texas is one of the few states that we can say that Trump still has a pretty decent stronghold from the GOP perspective. Not as strong as in some other places. And I think you see that when it comes to him endorsing. I think he realized that, because I think it was the last election that we had where Trump started nominating or at least putting his name and endorsing people, and that didn't fare too well. But he seems to still have the ability to have that stronghold in Texas.
For me, the Crenshaw race against Toth, I think that's Toth. That's how I'm gonna pronounce it today.
Read the Bible.
Toth. It was a purity test. It was strictly a purity test. And, you know, if you look over Crenshaw's record, there were only really a couple places where he defected from Trump and the party. Ukraine aid, and then he also just criticized other MAGA folks. And to see those things being weaponized so strongly against him should make some people nervous. Like the name that pops into my mind immediately, where they're probably not feeling great after seeing that race, Thomas Massie. Now, Kentucky's a whole different thing. We'll cover that on another day because we've got time before that primary. But at this point, Crenshaw was the only incumbent Republican in Texas that didn't have a Trump endorsement. And then Ted Cruz came back from Cancun and endorsed Toth late. And yeah, but one of the things Crenshaw said on election night, and I think this is the attitude you have to take if you're really doing a principled run, but he said, I don't regret a single vote I took. I voted to protect this country, and I'll do it again. I mean, yeah. But he's the first GOP incumbent to fall this go round.
Yeah, that's major, man. And I think we'll see how things turn out in Texas. Another part of Texas, and I believe they have a runoff that's going between John Cornyn and Ken Paxton, which I thought that was very interesting, especially when you think about all the dirt and all the issues and situations that Ken Paxton has had. I mean, how in the world are you still able to maintain strong enough that you make it to a runoff? But
this man is like a cockroach in the political space, I'll tell you. There's nobody who is more corrupt than Donald Trump than Ken Paxton. Like if you ask me the top two names of corruption, it's Donald Trump and Ken Paxton. Like it's crazy.
You said like 1A, 1B.
He even beat Nixon, man.
Yes, because I have a tinfoil situation on that Nixon stuff too. Nixon was more of a fall guy than a bad guy. But we'll say that for another day.
I was about to say, we have to get to that one day.
We'll say that for another day. But Ken Paxton, very much like Trump, was impeached, fought the charges, and beat him.
I forgot he did get impeached.
Like if the securities fraud. Hey, guess what? Trump needs to be brought up on securities fraud.
Man.
Ken Paxton had a federal investigation go up against him. Guess what? Trump needs a federal investigation to go up against him. Right. There was a whistleblower lawsuit. Guess what? Trump, I'm pretty sure, has some whistleblowers that are scared to come forward. Like Ken Paxton, and that's just the political side.
Because his wife left him because of scandal, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. I'm starting to remember now. Yeah.
Because guess what? She was also a state senator.
Yep. And I think she tried to cover her. She tried to do something with voting to make. I remember it all now.
She covered for him for years, and then finally got fed up and tired of it. Yeah, that Ken Paxton, that guy.
Yo. Hey, Texas, y'all need y'all moral compass check, right?
This
broke. It's broke.
This Senate race was interesting because for a couple reasons. First, on the Republican side, Trump didn't endorse.
Hold on, man. Real quick. Hold on.
Yeah.
We forgot to mention, wasn't Ken Paxton AG or is AG?
Yeah, I think he is. Yeah,
he is AG.
He is
AG. Yeah. The top law of the state. It's so corrupt.
Hey,
bro, what happened to that swamp that was supposed to get drained? What we supposed to do something with corruption?
Hey, I mean, it's evolving from a swamp. I don't know.
Corruption is only bad. What the guy said, corruption is only bad.
I'm not involved.
If I'm not involved, but if I'm involved, I defend it.
But this race was was already interesting because, again, it was, I won't say it was a 3-person. It was a 3-person, but it wasn't at the same time. You had Cornyn versus Paxton versus Hunt. Yeah. Trump didn't endorse and signaled that he liked everybody.
Which is wild. I'm gonna let the puppets fight it out.
Bro, this race up to this point, over $100 million had been spent, even via the campaigns and outside link groups.
I knew who was on the short end of that bill.
But this is one of the races. The Texas Senate race is going to be the race. It was the race I was referring to. When we were talking about the Cooper Whatley stuff. How much are they going to fight for Texas? Either side.
Yeah.
Because if we're talking about 100, they're saying 100 million in a primary. They're forecasting that there's going to be another 100 million spent between now and the runoff.
Wow.
$200 million for a single Senate seat.
That's crazy.
And that's even before the actual general election. $200 million set ablaze.
You can give me a quarter of that, and I promise I'll go to Washington and do the right thing. You know what I mean?
But while we talk about it, I want to kick dirt on somebody while they're still down.
Hey, we love it.
Wesley Hunt, you face bum. I'm glad you got the results you got.
That's why I was talking about. I got the short end of the bill. Done.
Go sit down somewhere with you, Tim, all the rest of the Coon Avengers.
The Coon Avengers.
Coon Avengers. Go sit down somewhere. I'm so glad you got embarrassed.
Right.
All right. I'm sorry, brother. Go ahead.
Hey, man. You know how we do here, man. You got to kick a man while he's down.
This runoff is going to be interesting.
Very.
Because you already are fighting to get people out for a normal primary. So now you're trying to get the entire state to come back out for another election.
I was going to ask you about that, Manny. How does from the numbers and just from how typical elections go, do you see a decline when you have those runoffs versus?
Absolutely.
I would assume you would, but I've never seen numbers. But it's got to be hard to go into a runoff and ask people to come out a second time.
Unless they're really engaged, they're really plugged in. These primary runoffs are for your really hardcore voters.
That's exactly who it's for. Yes.
And so it's going to be hard because you have to have something that motivates them to come back out. And, the other problem is it's easier to get people to come out in a general election for a runoff because you usually have someone you like versus somebody you hate. So now we're talking a primary where it's someone you like versus someone you're probably kind of okay with. And you're just like, I'll let the cards fall where they may. So I expect that you would see some level of fall off.
No, not some level. I'm about to break it down for you. The runoff is like that second service on Sunday.
Oh, bro. After you left Golden Corral and you just sat in the recliner with your church sock on and rub your feet together like a cricket.
It's that second service. Only the true dedicated church members coming back.
Those that truly love the Lord.
Outside of that,
if you was at the
first service, that's how you chalking it up in the book for.
Well, the Bible saying to not forsake the assembly. It didn't say assemblies.
It's a singular.
I came to one. That's good enough.
It's hard enough you try to get me out here Wednesday night service. You talking about second service on Sunday.
If the Lord, the great excuse, if the Lord needed all that heat, just tell me.
If he wanted me to come to this service, he would call me right now and tell me to go get myself down there. He ain't called me yet, y'all.
I got what I needed at the first one. I won't lay for the second one.
It ain't in my spirit.
I know something else that won't lay it in the spirit. Those voters that show up for our great sister Jasmine Crockett.
Hey.
For those that aren't aware, our sister here, Jasmine Crockett. We gotta give a shout out to Jasmine because we fool with Jasmine. She cool with us. We ain't got no beef with her, and she's I believe a great sister of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. She showed up, did her thing, but unfortunately she fell short to James Tellerico. So, my brothers, what's your thoughts on the race that she ran and ultimately lost in the primary to James? Hold on, first of all, what nationality is James? Because I'm
ambiguous.
The name gives me Hispanic, but I ain't never met no Hispanic named James.
That's Juan.
Bro, you wild.
I'm like, is he doing one of them Cash App Patel things? He changing his name or something? I'm gonna look it up while y'all discuss.
James Tellerico is very ambiguous, like Pat from Mad TV.
Oh, bro. Yo, I used to die laughing at the Pat. As soon as they try to figure out which bathroom he go in, lights go out.
Yeah.
Man, look, we had a saying that proper preparation prevents a piss poor performance.
Indeed.
And Jeez, you said that, we ain't got no beef with her. Well, Jasmine Crockett might have beef with me after this.
Uh-oh.
I think this was a winnable race for her. But from my understanding, what I've heard from people down there is that the race was not well put together. So,
Did she have some people from Kamala Harris' team on her, helping her with her campaign?
It wouldn't shock me. But also, how we've also felt about the team that helped Kamala Harris run.
Exactly. That's my point. Exactly.
But I think, were the numbers there for her to win? Yes, I think they were. I just think it was a poorly planned campaign that was really just kind of surrounded on hype and not well executed. I think she came in late. So Tellerico and Allred, I think they declared back in September of last year. She didn't hop in until
August. I believe it was August.
Okay. So late summer, very early fall. So they had been running for a while. And she hopped in, was it late November, early December?
December. It was December. So the last day to declare.
There we go. So she came in, obviously, with the highest name ID. I mean, you're Jasmine Crockett. You've been in Congress. You just having name ID does not win elections anymore. It can in certain races, but if you're going to do that, you have to file early. So I think the fact that she came in late, she did a horrible job of raising money. I think she would. Tellerico raised $20 million. She raised $8 million, and this piss poor numbers for someone who was as popular as she was, and just didn't do it. Poor job. I also think her focus on the campaign was very limited, from my understanding. We're just major counties trying to drive out that vote.
Okay. I was going to allow you the floor and not cut you off so abruptly or rudely, my good brother.
For our listeners, we've been planning on this conversation for a couple days.
We have. This has been I ain't gonna say it was a light discussion in the group chat because we did not want to show our cards to either one. I'm not sure the level of poker player my brother Manny is, but I am a very high level poker player. So I definitely didn't want to show my cards until it was time to hit the river.
Yes, sir.
Manny made a comment earlier about the good sister Kamala Harris and her plight. And what was that comment? Do you remember?
I don't, brother.
Because she's a black woman.
Yes. I was about to say, we said a couple of things, but yes, black woman for sure.
So my first thing is, Manny, those people, those insiders, were they black that you talked to?
One was.
Just one.
Yeah, one was.
Gotcha. So here's my. I went to the dry cleaner today to pick up my cape for Jasmine. My good sister Jasmine Crockett. Although a very formidable individual for this race, a very qualified individual for this race, the odds were stacked against her, and she never had a chance. I don't care what anybody says. She never had a chance. The number one reason why she never had a chance, because she's a black woman. And what was the adjectives always used about Jasmine Crockett? She's fiery. She's contentious. She's combative. Aggressive. No, she stood up for the people.
Yep.
She stood up against this administration who countless times over and over steamrolled people in their own party. Forget the opposition on the other side of the aisle. Yep. They steamrolled people in their own party. So she already came in with that against her. Now, by no means am I saying that she ran a flawless, top-tier campaign. Number one problem, coming in the last day to declare. I truly believe she was coerced into running.
Yeah.
Number one reason, the name recognition, the name ID. Hey, go ahead and do it. Go ahead and do it. Because I truly don't believe that was her plan. Because if this was a part of her plan, she would have jumped in a lot sooner without question. So I think somebody kind of talked her into it. Who that was, don't know. Need to have a conversation with them because, as my good brother Manny said, proper preparation would have had her in place before that point. But now I want to talk about TED Talk Tellerico. Because TED Talk Tellerico here.
Not TED Talk Tellerico.
That's pretty good. That's pretty accurate. That's pretty accurate, bro.
He is going to talk your head down in the most ambiguous and love and kind way. And what's interesting is him and Jasmine are very much similar in many of their policies, many of their ways of going about it. There's very little differentiation between the two in those aspects. The biggest difference is how the nomenclatures and adjectives used to describe them.
Yep.
Now, where Tellerico is I don't want to say a far more formidable opponent, but a more revered or endearing opponent against whoever runs from the Republican Party, is because he's leading with love. He is on his Kumbaya tour. Yep. We're all here together in this populist mindset, and we're here to work together. Yes, he outraced her. But if you break down the percentage of time from when he started to when Jasmine started, that 20 million looks a lot smaller than that 8 million. Sure if we break it down in that regard from time frame. But one of his donors was very interesting to me. Do we all know who the co-founder of LinkedIn is? One of the co-founders? Well, people, if you don't know, Mr. Reid Hoffman is one of the co-founders of LinkedIn. Who is Reid Hoffman, you ask?
Tell the people, brother.
One of Jeffrey Epstein's good buddies. Not only has he been to Epstein Island, but he's been to the condo in New York and the ranch where we're at. There's several email exchanges and different things in the files between Reid Hoffman and Jeffrey Epstein. And Mr. Reid Hoffman dropped a $500,000 donation to the Tellerico campaign. Now, James Tellerico had gone on and say, I'm not taking any corporate PAC money. Commendable. You know, he's a man of the people. And honestly, he can draw a lot of comparisons to the good aspects of the Obama campaign. And about the people, grassroots fundraising. But there were a bunch of not corporate, but other super PACs.
Independent expenditures.
Yes. Who donated to his campaign. And I bring those up not as a indictment against him, but an indictment to my point that Jasmine had no chance. They were not looking to push forward or back a sassy, spicy, contentious black woman, regardless of the level of qualifications, regardless of all that she's done, regardless of her degrees.
Yeah.
Like, she has all the qualifications. And what's real funny is they pick and choose when they want to ask, are you qualified?
This is true. Very much true.
So in that is my pushback, because quite honestly, she, to her and her campaigns, I guess you can say green check mark, they had some of the highest level of voter registration in the history of primaries. And the turnout was historic numbers. 2.3 million people, excuse me, turned out for a primary is amazing. She by herself, not even Tellerico, she by herself garnered more votes than Kamala Harris did in the general election for president. And my last point, and I'll yield back to you, Manny, because I know you're ready to rebut, is, in fact, I'm going to hold this because I know you're going to rebut, and I have another point that I can make in regards to TED Talk Tellerico.
Well, I think everything you said, Chuck, was spot on. I think the point that I now come back to is, was I wrong in my analysis that I gave a couple months ago when she hopped in? Did she actually have a chance? And I don't know, because to the point that you said that, hey, she didn't declare to the last day and was convinced. I think it's an important thing to remember that she had been drawn out of her district. So her district is no more. Yeah. So she had nothing to do. In terms of being coerced, there is a rumor going around right now that some of the last polls that were run before the filing deadline, there's specifically one that came out 2 weeks before the filing deadline that had her up, that had her with the most name ID. But what that also showed, and that didn't really come out, is it her unfavorables. Her unfavorables was 40%. Yes. So you step into an environment where 40% of the people have already made up their mind about you. Mm-hmm. It's hard to turn over from that. Yeah. So I think if you look at that as a precursor to everything else, then she likely didn't even have an environment where she truly even stood a chance, to your point, that she didn't run. Now, at that point, you got to be prepared, though. You got to come out here and put on your best showing. And I think my point is that from what I've seen and what I've read, it could have been done better. I think when you're looking at a primary, turnout is a major piece, but it's not the only piece. And I think she really focused on turnout and didn't get it. So if you look at Dallas, she won. She needed to win that by 40%, by 40 points. She didn't. And Harris, where she won, but she needed to win that by somewhere between 15 to 20%. Fort Bend was the only county in Texas where she exceeded her expectations. And Travis, in Austin, the county, Travis County, that has Austin, Texas, she needed to hold him under 65%. And that didn't happen. She lost by an additional 10 to 15 points. So to the other point of that, if you understand the reality of the situation that you're up against, I understand what your brand is, but understanding Texas, if you're trying to win, you have to be able to turn your messaging around. Yeah, I think she, to your point, very much a fighter, very much, hey, I'm out here campaigning and talking about the things that my people, my constituents need, and I'm going to fight for that. It's Texas, so that message is not going to necessarily land the same as a kumbaya message. And I think if you look at it, Democratic insiders, when looking at Tellerico versus Crockett, this is not just a turnout game. I think those voters said, we're not worried about turnout. People are going to come out. Who is going to flip more R's to D's in terms of voting in the general election? And I think that's the mindset a lot of people went into this with. Not to mention, I think there was a bet from her side that people of color across the board, and that the across the board is a key point in this, people of color across the board would turn out for her. That it didn't. That we have consistently seen over these last couple cycles is not going to happen anymore.
If that was a conversation in her camp, they failed from the beginning.
Yep,
they failed terrible from the beginning because, like you said, as we've seen for the past 20 plus years in voting, Texas kind of, but more so, the biggest example is Florida. The colored people across the spectrum are not coming out for the black candidates. And to that, and I was going to essentially, okay, we're going to say this is a draw because we essentially agree. We essentially agree with point counterpoint with each other. We just stand at a different angle in the room. But to Tellerico and where I don't know if he's turning anyone because, and I seen somebody online say that swing voters, and I'll touch on two different swing voters, the the Mexican voters, because we're talking about Texas here. We're not talking about Florida. Where Florida, you could have several different dynamics of Hispanics, Cubans, Dominican, Haitian. In Texas, it's about the Mexicans. Let's be honest.
Yep.
Where he won them over is his. I don't want to sound like I'm diminishing this, because by no means am I. But his religious faith and his religious walk and stand. Because for those who don't know, I think he's very close to finishing his master's in divinity. And has gone to seminary. So, and he not saying that Jasmine isn't, but he openly brings that as a part of his package. Yeah. And like I said earlier, the spread love. And so, as we know, Mexicans are very religious. Although it's not Christianity, some of them are Christian, some of them are Catholic, but they're very religious. So in this, that was a Trump playbook. Because Trump, when he went down there talking to them, he didn't come, even the goofy evangelicals who rubbed up and loved up against him, they were drawn into that. And so I think that is a strong play for him. Again, not diminishing his walk and where he stands in his faith. I can't speak for that man. I can only speak for me. But I think it's a solid ground that he's standing on that is allowing him to attract those who may be swing voters in that Mexican community and the white moderate to slightly conservative, where he can draw those in. And the other swing voter is the black voter. And when I say swing voter, I don't mean swing voter in the sense of, are we going to vote Republican or Democrat?
Are we going to vote at all?
Are we going to vote at all and make them earn our vote? Or are we just going to be slaves to the Democratic Party and give them our vote off of tradition and history? That is a conversation for another time, but it's a strong conversation that has to be had, not just in Texas, but in many states for that vote.
The only follow-up I have for that, because I think you're spot on, but don't no one publicly love Jesus and the cross as much as a politician running for election an election. Right. Don't no one publicly love Jesus like that.
Now, I will say with Tellerico, to Chuck said it earlier, just for clarity, he has earned his master's in divinity. So he has already earned it, and he's very active in the church in Austin. So I think that, again, to your point, Chuck, plays into his favor, because not only is he, he's mastered in this, but he's very active in the church that is in the local area. So that's a plus for him as far as convincing those that are very religious in that form. But when we talk about earlier, I was curious.
Before we go move on, I did have another point, but go ahead, man.
Yeah. I think we'd be remiss if we look at Texas as a whole and not mention the chaos that happened in Dallas with
Yes.
Originally, people could vote wherever they wanted. In this election, they now said across the board, they said you have to vote at your precinct. So now you got people pulling up to precincts that I've been voting here for the last 43 years, and now you're telling me I got to go across the. And there was chaos. Wow. So it caused them to open polls for an extra 2 hours per the Supreme Court. But then our good friend Ken Paxton,
good old Ken,
there is a list of reasons about why you can extend voting past the time, and it was ruled that because people didn't know their precincts or know the law, I forget the official wording that was used, that's not an eligible reason. So you had people who wanted to vote were not allowed to vote, or their votes did not count because they were either casted at the wrong place, they went to the right place and casted those ballots after the time.
7 o'clock.
They were not in line at the proper time. And that's something that Texas is going to have to get a hold of before this general election, because the chaos that now you're going to see, this is going to be a very expensive, we'll say, Senate race. That's going to spin off into something crazy Florida-esque in 2000 kind of situation.
And to that, Manny, and I meant to make that point when you were talking about the turnout for Crockett. I believe that played a major factor in her turnout. Not just, and I know the reports are saying that it was like 2,300 votes that did not count. But what people cannot quantitate is those who said, forget it, and I'm going home.
Yeah. Yep.
And so I believe that definitely played a factor into it. You can't file a lawsuit on, hey, y'all made these people go home and they didn't vote.
Right.
So it's gonna, but we can't quantify, how many of those individuals. But I truly believe it had an impact, because, like you said, these people for years, countless years, been able to just pull up, have placed their vote, go about their business. This polling site is right down the street from my house. It's 5 minutes from my house. You telling me I got to go 10 minutes the other way just to vote? Why? And so,
that might be 10 minutes, because with Texas traffic, ain't no telling. It could be 5 miles away, but it could take me 35 to get there.
Exactly. When we got into Houston, the amount of time it took us to get from the airport that's in Houston
from the airport
to our Airbnb that is also in Houston. Wild.
I'm like,
completely wild.
I would definitely not come out the house, bro. It's much too far away.
And now I want to. We can finish this off by saying I want to shout out our good brother Freddie Haynes III, who was elected to replace Jasmine Crockett. For the House of Representatives. Not only is he's a preacher, interestingly enough, he's Jasmine Crockett's pastor. So, but he is a member of the illustrious Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated.
Hey.
And he's very strong brother, and a staunch advocate of getting Israel out of our business.
Yep. Bro, I seen a couple of clips of him talking, and I was like, oh, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Jasmine may be gone, but the man that
the spirit
there.
Yes, sir, brother. That brother is on fire, and I was like, okay, yeah.
Although I got my gripes against Jasmine because she has taken donations from AIPAC.
But at this point, who in Congress hasn't?
Freddie Haynes III.
Okay, well, all right.
Fight on, my brother.
Him, Thomas Massey.
Yeah, it's a low number.
It's a very low number. But I will say this. I said it at the beginning. I have never met someone with the name Tellerico. I've never seen them with the first name James, and it appears that Tellerico is not his real last name. His name is James Dale Collins. He was born to a single mother who was a pastor's
who worked
kid.
too hard, who loves her kids, and never stops.
She later on, and now I'm not making light of this aspect of it. His birth father, was abusive. So she raised Tellerico and his sister on his own, and she later got married to a guy named Mark Tellerico, and she changed
he took the name. Okay.
So
okay,
but
G.
When
you started that off,
I was about to fire them coals up.
That's why I had to get a fool. Cause look, when I seen it, because at first I was like Collins, and I was like, had to keep digging a little bit deeper, and I was like, okay. So,
boy, you were about to send Tellerico to the Lions.
He's about to replace me, Shadrack, and Bendigo.
Look, I was ready, but then I was like, okay. So, but he does come from a family of faith with his granddad being a pastor in the area, and later on, obviously, finding his roots as well in the ministry and the work that he's done. So we'll see what happens. He has done a lot of work from the education perspective, public school. Yes. I believe 16 of the bills that he has worked on centered around education and child health care and child care service. I believe 16 of them have been passed into law. Yeah. He was a 6th grade school teacher. So, I mean, he certainly has his roots within the community. So, depending on who he is faced up against once the runoff happens, it'd be very interesting, especially if it's Ken Paxton. Because you got kind of like it's almost like a heaven and devil, like a heaven and hell type of fight, right?
Angel and the devil.
I think the thing to watch here is, at least in Texas, how long before the Republican Party starts swinging on Tellerico.
As soon as they know
But no, I think that's the question. Do they wait until the runoff is over, or do they start swinging now?
They can't afford to. He is too endearing to too many people. Like, I feel like he will start off the debate. Hi, friends. Like he
with the Mr. Rogers intro.
Yes.
Won't you be my neighbor?
Much so.
Yeah, bro.
Oh man.
Well, the primaries were the primaries, and that is our coverage of it. Certainly, I'm interested to see what's next for our good sister Jasmine as her time comes to, slowly to an end. She said that she's dedicated and committed to getting Democrats around the country elected in positions that they can make real change, not just for Texas, but for the United States as a whole. So, be very interesting. I'm sure a book deal will come out of somewhere. And
I actually don't think so. Okay. I don't think she'll get it. I don't think it'll happen right now.
Oh, no.
I think if there's a prediction for her, Gavin Newsom has probably already made a call to start gauging interest
as
a VP candidate.
I pray to God not, because I promise y'all I don't want Gavin Newsom.
Now, making the call and making a decision are two different things.
Yeah, definitely.
But I'm almost certain that she's
filler.
hitting several people's list of people that they would like to have on a ticket with them.
That, or get her on board so she can start a tour around like Bernie Sanders and AOC was doing.
But with who?
Those votes. I don't know.
And you know what's funny?
Get some of those votes, because you got to think, Gavin. In all my honest opinion, I don't think Gavin has the support that people think he has.
He does not. He does not.
I just really don't, and especially with black people. I'm sorry, I just don't.
Hence why Jasmine Crockett.
So that's why I said maybe send her on tour. I'm not saying it works, but it's a low ball that you can throw out there and say, okay, let me see if it'll catch any traction. I can see him making that play, because he got to think that he doesn't have the support that he needs to make that.
No. And I just want to throw this out there real quick. If Jasmine was from New York, she would not get labeled the same way she gets labeled being from Texas. I just want to say that.
You're exactly right, brother.
Her and AOC are very similar. Very similar. But, yeah. Anyway. I agree with you. They're definitely going to put her in a position. I'm not going to say a position to stomp for whoever, but they're definitely going to utilize her. I can see her on TV more than anything coming up.
What will be interesting is now she's heading back to Congress without a race, essentially a lame duck. So it'll be interesting to watch some of these committee hearings, the legislation that she'll try to file during this time. Now knowing you don't have a race to run, what are you going to do with this last year in office?
I would hope to see her still just as fired up as she has been before, because if we see you lose a little bit of that flame, I think that's certainly doesn't bode well for what you're trying to do. And I mean, her future is not over in politics, so it's not like it's not like you took the last kill. Like, you know, you still have a future in this. So I hope you don't go there and lay down, and we don't see those typical attributes from her as we've seen in committee hearings or just in the House in general.
Agreed.
So, man, that coverage of the primaries was quite a bit, bro. Like, I realized we still got more to go.
Well, this next one doesn't have to take long at all.
Well, I don't know if you guys. Well, I saw it, and I don't know if this would classify as breaking news, but I just saw that there has been a report of some action going on at an airport. I want to say in Arizona, that they are saying there's a potential threat that could be going on.
No.
I believe it was. I saw it in the middle of you guys going back and forth on it, and I lost my notification, but something's going on where there is a potential threat that has been labeled at an airport, and I believe it was in Arizona. I'm trying to pull it back up, but I know there was a flight that was diverted. I know you're talking about something different, but there was a flight that was diverted yesterday to Atlanta because of what they suspected was a potential bomb threat. Yeah, which I know is completely different from that, but just in the line. Sorry. Okay, Kansas City. Kansas City International Airport evacuated amid reports of a potential threat. Don't know what that potential threat is tied to, but I know that there had been some heightening of security at certain locations in the country due to the war that is going on between U.S., Israel versus Iran. We're very much a partner in this war at this point. But right now, it's been over a week that the war started. There's been strikes targeted on nuclear facilities that, again, I don't know why reporters aren't asking Trump when they're talking about him, that he said that these were obliterated. So I don't know why we're hitting things that are already done. Missile systems and even Iranian leadership, which we know was the killing of the supreme leader, which at this point they have not, at the time of this recording, they have not I don't know if elected is the right thing to say. They haven't selected another supreme leader, but they have stated that one is closely approaching, that they're coming to a decision. But Iran has responded with missile and drone attacks across the region, and a number of just attacks between countries that are affecting the shipping routes, the oil market, and even their neighboring states. So my first question to you guys, since we're over a week into the war, from the first strikes that were launched until now, do you think that this war turned up? Is it quick? What we've seen, how this war has escalated. Do we think we get here where we're at this fast?
If the escalation that we saw from Iran is a shock to anybody in the administration, they've clearly been asleep at the wheel. Because we've said it here that there were reports that if Iran said if they were attacked, they spraying everyone. Everyone's catching it.
Yep.
Which is exactly what we saw happen this week.
Yeah.
Is that they had smoke for everybody. So much smoke for everybody that Iran on Saturday came out and said, you know what? We kind of wildin'. we ain't mean to hit all of y'all like that, but we
they let that thing ride.
Meanwhile, while they were still hitting everybody like that.
Right. Y'all know, they're like, y'all know why we got to do this, right? And I think the reaction, for all the times that we've entered into the Middle East, and for all the conflicts that we've had with Iran, no one should be shocked that Iran started shooting back. No one should be shocked that they closed the Strait of Hormuz. Like, that shouldn't have been shocking to anybody. And if it was shocking to anybody in the administration, y'all haven't been paying attention. Like, even at a minor stand, like, I would say we follow the news far deeply than the average person. But in comparison to how we follow the news versus how people in the administration should be following this information, and y'all didn't know that, y'all have failed.
I think it's you're exactly right, Manny. you know, the way that this happened, and I read something earlier this week where they were talking that Iran had been prepared for this for years. Like they knew that if this was coming, they had their plan of how they were going to respond. I don't think it's in a matter of even defending. They're just like, look, if I'm going down, everybody getting hit.
Yeah.
Everybody getting hit.
I've never seen a switch on a missile silo until Iran started letting that yapper sing, boy.
But at
Bro,
this
we
point,
were like, okay. It was like we saw a strike. Then we like, okay, more strikes. It, like, have y'all stopped? What's that game of when we do the mission on Call of Duty, and you know you're shooting the gun on the back of the tank, and you got to stop at some point because it's getting too hot. I'm like, are they
Warzone? Warzone.
Yeah,
but it's like Israel has been saying that Iran was weeks away from a nuclear weapon since we were in elementary school.
I was about to say before I was 3.
So I'm like, at this point, like
y'all about to make me feel old.
You had to have.
I was in high school.
But like if you're Iran, you had to have a plan. You would had to have known that they were going to attack your leadership. So you needed to have something set up and together for what you guys are just executing. You're not asking questions.
It looks like Iran was the only one who had a plan.
Bingo.
Look,
if we really look at what has been going on, and sadly enough, we are in a propaganda age of media. And thankfully, and we said this before, thankfully to social media, we are afforded the ability to have access to information that we normally would not have access to.
Yep.
So we are seeing the strikes. We're seeing the bombings where 20 years ago, we have to wait for what the news is telling us and showing us.
We would have had to wait for what the U.S. government gave to the news to show us.
Facts. And in this, we see Iran launching missiles from underground. Mm-hmm. The U.S. has no idea where these missile sites are coming from because they're underground and they're just letting off. And like Manny, spot on. They've been planning for this. You've been talking for 30 years that we need to strike, and there's been administration after administration saying, no, you know what? Well, while y'all talking, we prepping with the aid of Russia and China. But it's not negate
they ain't in his body,
that aspect. They are not. For them to have this many missiles and to still be firing off, they have received this from somewhere.
Yep.
This many missiles, this many drones, allegedly painting... thermal painting shapes of helicopters
and
fighter jets so we would strike them. It's insane. And I think here's the other piece of this is Iran is firing off these missiles of what, 100,000, not to diminish the cost, $50,000, $100,000 a piece. And then you look at a lot of people in the Middle East missiles that are not only us targeting with $1 million missiles, but our missile defense systems.
Yes.
And here's the crazy part of it. Iran can shoot out 100 rockets. If one of them hits, they win.
Yep.
The U.S. missile defense systems cannot fail. Like, if it fails in any capacity, that means you've lost. And we've already seen it. We've seen it from our partners in the region.
Yep.
And Iran was prepared for this, and we're not. The country is not prepared for it, not only just with a stockpile, but from a support standpoint. When we ran up into Afghanistan and Iraq after 9/11, the people of the United States largely were unified in that you don't have the support of the American people. Sending gas up 27% in a day is not something we signed up for.
Nope.
There's been no case made. Right.
I can't have an omelet and I can't go nowhere.
Right.
I can't go to the store to get the eggs and get the omelet.
So no one should be shocked by this. No one should be surprised. But here we are being shocked and surprised. And I think it is going to be interesting to see what happens over the next week. Because now that you got all the oil being held up in the Strait of Hormuz, Gas prices are going to shoot up. I think it's at $100 or so where you start making everything more expensive. You know, the Saudis have said that they're going to start increasing output, but how long before that hits the market? The U.S. is talking about releasing some of the sanctions on Russia to get more. I'm just like, y'all were not prepared for this. What are we doing?
Further point to prove that they were not prepared, we did not refill our reserves before going to war.
Message.
Why do you not? You have reserves. You went through the reserves for your other foolish reasons. We won't touch on that. It's a whole different subject. But you didn't even think to refill your reserves before going out to attack someone else in an oil-rich region.
Yep.
But, oh, no, let's add some. I think this administration is dumb enough to have thought, oh, well, we just took over Venezuela, so we have access to their oil. No, we don't have the facilities to really deal with their oil and the quality that comes out of the ground.
Nobody wants that
dummy.
Oil. Nobody wants that oil. That's why I was still sitting there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oil just sitting on the boot, bro.
But to the point of propaganda, what is not being divulged by the U.S. to the U.S. media, but is being talked about on social platforms, they've told us there's been 3 to 6 deaths. Reports are the deaths from American soldiers are close to 1,000. There have been failed operations where special ops, particularly the Delta Force, may have been captured. About 173 Delta Force soldiers and some officers in a failed operation at a nuclear site may have been captured and or killed. This is coming from many different aspects. Again, hard to verify if the home country is not telling accurate information. There is no way, absolutely no way, we only have 3 to 6 deaths, depending on the report, with the amount of strikes from drones, from missiles on U.S. bases, on other areas where Americans and American soldiers are. There's no way. Absolutely no way. And Trump is talking like, oh, we got this, guys. This is we're up 21 in the third quarter. It's about to be over. No.
Hey, as a great coach from Hey Arnold said, hey, we down, but we not up.
Facts.
And I saw somebody make a very good point. I mean, from what we've seen 4 faces of the soldiers that known soldiers that have died already from this war. Has the president even made mention of them?
Well, yeah. So I won't say allegedly. I say alleged because there's some controversy about the video of that. But Trump left the Shield of America and came back over to attend the dignified transfer of the 6 soldiers' bodies in Delaware on Saturday. Okay. So we've gotten that much, but I think Chuck's spot on. We're clearly missing something here. We're clearly acting unilaterally, and very much to a degree, some people will say we are acting like a proxy of Israel. Because the question is, what U.S. interest are we serving by doing this?
None.
And what's the plan? What's the plan?
There is none.
Like how do we get out of this? And this is the point in the episode where we talk about how I agree with Tucker Carlson here. And he's like, he went up to D.C. and was trying to convince the president, find an off ramp, get us out of here.
Yeah.
Before that, he was the sole voice of saying no.
Yep.
There are reports that JD was like, I don't know, but if you're gonna do it, go big. And then all his other puppets, oh yeah, let's do this. And this is where the irresponsible and idiotic decision making of firing the Joint Chiefs oh, sorry about that. The Joint Chiefs early in his administration coming back the second time. Good Brother Brown would have definitely advised you against this. And the many other top officials that were in place to help make such sound decisions would have been against this. But you got them out of the way so you could do what you want to do.
But it was my understanding that there was still not unified appeal around this.
It was not unified appeal, but he did not have enough people saying no. The ones who were saying no, it wasn't a resounding no. It was, yeah, I don't think we should do this. This is not a good idea. The ammunitions is not at a level that where we can sustain a prolonged. And this is again where I think the operation back in June and with Venezuela kind of put rose-colored glasses over his eyes, him thinking, oh, big, bad, strong American military, we're going to, in conjunction with Israel, we'll drop a couple bombs, they'll shoot a couple back, we'll drop a few more, and then they'll go running with their tail between their legs. No.
We went in here with the same plan that Russia had when they stepped into Ukraine.
I was just about to say that.
Yes.
And I think that's the scramble that's going on behind the scenes because there is no off ramp. There is no plan. The plan was for Israel. I mean, not Israel, excuse me, for Iran to, as Chuck said, run with their tail between their legs and be done. That's not happening. They are. Hey, look, if we got to go down, we're going down and we're going down swinging.
Yep.
And when you see the targeting of energy infrastructures, to me, that signals that we're going to be in this for a little bit.
There are already reports that this not going to be a week's operation. That this is going to last into the fall. And then I think as of today, Israel was targeting oil facilities in such a way that the explosions are sending oil into the sky. So it's now raining.
Yeah, it's raining.
It's literally raining oil around Terra. I don't know how
I was in Congress.
I ain't said a word.
But I don't
know. They've said a word.
Yes, they did. They rolled out the red carpet for Trump to continue and do this when they blocked that resolution, that war.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
When they blocked that and did, here, Trump, just do what you want to do. It's essentially what they did.
Yep.
Boy, there's a whole lot of folks going to have some explaining to do.
Well, and now at this point, you see, Trump out say, Iran wants to make a deal. Iran wants to make a deal, where the Iran foreign minister.
Like, no, we don't.
Yeah, he was like, there's no request for a ceasefire. We are continuing we need to continue fighting for the sake of our people. And even if there was, how do you step into that conversation with the U.S. and try to negotiate a ceasefire when the last two times you've been at the table with the U.S., they've launched missiles at you in the middle of negotiations?
In the middle of negotiation, yep.
And let's not talk about the warship that y'all sunk coming from Sri Lanka. That was in
international water.
Which was forget international. It was unarmed. A part of the requirement for them to go to that summit, and all the countries that went to that summit, all your vessels had to be unarmed.
They had just finished marching next to U.S. troops.
Wow. Yeah, this is terrible.
It's very terrible.
Trump, how you say
get out there?
You such a big negotiator. I hope is this your tactic?
Yep. The KXF get out there and want to, for the first time since World War II, a torpedo has sunk a warship. Get your substance abuse self out of here.
That don't move
Piss me off.
Go KXF. But man, look, as you guys have already said, we're nowhere near to an end of this conflict. I don't believe that's the case. And it's sad to see. And I saw so many things on social media where Big Benny has been trying to get a U.S. president to do this for years. And even in Trump's first administration, tried to get him to do it. And he didn't then. But, I mean, he had people around him that knew
guardrails.
Better. Yeah, guardrails. But now, out of all these presidents, and think about it, you're the one that he's finally got to do this.
Well, my brother,
Uh-oh, do we have one?
Let's play the game.
Hey. Thought we were gonna go the whole episode without one.
Well, many of us speculated and thought Big Benny must have something on Trump from the Epstein files.
Uh-oh.
It's possible. Not to mention the DOJ just dropped those files accusing Trump of a bunch of nastiness that we
thought
we kind of believe
completely capable of.
Yes, very much so. However, there is another avenue or another play here where I believe good old Big Benny played into Trump's emotions, just like anyone else who gets him to do what he want them to do. Mondani did it.
Mm-hmm.
Bro.
Anybody who played him like a fiddle, bro.
A fiddle. I know what it takes, and I'm going Geppetto.
Yep.
So remember, I don't know if you remember, and then there were reports that there were plans of assassination against Trump last year by Iran. And Israel wanted to strike last year, and Trump pushed back and said no. And I think that's anyway. I don't even want to go down that path. As we continue on, we get into June, and the strikes happen, and it's thought to be Big Benny was like, "Hey, Trump, remember they tried to kill you, man. It was them. They tried to kill you. They tried to take you out of here." Because if you notice, I think he made mention of it a few days ago, or reports where there was conversation of beefing up or making some different changes because of the potential threat. And then before the Ayatollah was taken out, the Supreme Leader was taken out, he made a point to say, when we say death to America, it's not to the American sentences.
We're
it's
talking
to Donald
about
Trump
one person
and them. And this is where I believe it truly jump-started him and put that battery in his back for him to join Big Benny and Israel in bombing them. They try to take you out, man. You gonna let them do that to you? Not Big Trump. Not Big DT. Not you.
Right. Oh, I think he also probably invoked the Bushes remember when he came out the Bush, how they had to play.
But you know what's funny?
Went full sell on that.
You know what's funny? And then I was listening. I can't remember what I was listening to, but it brought back to my remembrance. Big Benny and Trump had some falling out because Big Benny was smoozing up with Biden when Biden was elected and saying, "Hey, this was the real winner." When Trump was saying it was a fraud and a farce, and he felt some kind of way.
Had to come to Florida and kiss the ring.
Yeah, so
my bad, man. I ain't mean it like that.
I
gotta try to look.
I gotta play the game, man.
I gotta do what I gotta do.
Homie. You my homie. Yeah. So I think he pulled at those ego strings that you got to pull at to get Trump to move how you want him to move.
Man, well, him pulling those strings put all us in a bind.
Are we the pickle?
Bro.
Yeah.
Oh, we might be.
We might be.
No.
Well, yeah. So our listeners, we'll keep you posted on the war. And remember, as we've said before when covering the war that's going on right now, at the time of this recording, this is what we know. This is what we have. But by the time this episode is released, ain't no telling.
To circle back on a point that you made, the terminal in Kansas City has now reopened.
Okay.
So whatever happened,
whatever was going on,
addressed.
Cleared up. Okay.
Yeah.
Y'all people pick your bags up and take them with you.
Right.
Stop sitting your bag down.
Please do. It's not the time to leave your bag unattended.
Well, I know somebody else that left their bag unattended.
What a segue. Boy, what a segue.
Kristi Noem.
Bruh.
She reportedly had left her bag down at a restaurant in D.C. Well, No need to worry about that now. You be taking that bag over back to Dakota with you because you have been fired. We have our first casualty, major cabinet casualty, as she's lost her job, man. She has been replaced and been reassigned. And see, that's stuff that be pissing me off. If you didn't do good at this job, why am I going to reassign you at another one? Just go home.
Because I got dirt on the person who fired me, and if I don't get reassigned to a cushy position, I'm gonna let everyone know.
I disagree. I don't think it's a matter of having dirt. She is my true champion. This is my boo. I'm not just going. I gotta make it look like.
I'm just doing this publicly.
Yeah, I'm gonna say this out loud to them, but I got you, dog.
Look, I know somebody was excited to hear that she was getting reassigned and not coming back home.
Boy,
that husband. You stupid. The one that she got her.
They said when I saw social media, they said when her dogs at home found out that she was coming back, that they've been whining, bro.
That's wild.
Oh man,
but she had to, bro. She had to get fired. She had to. Trump was calling around from what it was reported that from that congressional hearing, she tanked. It looked just as bad as everyone thought it was and more.
But see, I believe it was a congressional hearing. And go ahead, Manny, because I don't want to.
Oh no, you go ahead. You cook.
Okay. So here's the thing. She stunk it up at the congressional hearing.
Yeah.
But she's not the only one who's ever stunk it up at the congressional hearing recently here.
For sure.
Like, there's been a litany of them. But what I think truly got her fired was Senator Kennedy out of Louisiana. Mm-hmm. When he did his questioning, and he is a big Trump supporter, a huge Trump supporter. And it wasn't the suspicion of misappropriation of funds with this shell company who's never done any work with the government but got a $140 million contract that had only been incorporated for 8 days.
8 days.
That didn't get her fired. It's not Americans being killed and shot by ICE agents who are under your direction and discretion. No, because I was preaching the message of the great President Donald J. Trump. Wasn't that? What got Kristi Noem fired, in my opinion, is when Kennedy asked her about her commercials that she shot that cost upwards of $200 million. And it wasn't even the fact that they cost over $200 million because Trump blows money. We see that non-existent ballroom in that gaping hole on the White House.
Yep. How much money have we spent in Iran in the last week?
Talk about that. But when Kennedy asked her, hey, did Donald Trump know you spent this amount of money? And she kind of tried to dance around it at first.
Yep.
And he said, no. Did you get approval from President Trump to spend $200 million on campaigns that centered around you? She was the face. She was front and center.
Front face and all of it, bro.
All of it. And she said, yeah, he knew. He gave me the thumbs up. And this is paraphrasing her words. But yeah, he gave me the thumbs up on it.
Trump said,
and the reports are that Trump was pissed off.
The hell ever. I ain't kidding.
The hell you talk about? Don't be telling people I told you can spend that money.
Bruh.
We already got a problem with money being allocated the right way in the first place.
Trump told Reuters, and this is the quote, I never knew anything about it.
Bruh.
That's exactly.
Well, you don't even want to hear that from your president, bro.
Bruh.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. We've heard Trump say that before about stuff that we heard come out of Trump's mouth. So
True.
I do believe he knew about the money. But what you can't do is throw Trump under the bus.
Nope. He
can throw you under the bus. Mm-hmm. And that's where it became a problem because Kennedy even said himself, when I talked to President Trump and asked him about it, he was hot as a firecracker and vehemently denied knowing about that money and those ads.
And I believe it, bro. Because Kennedy, he be having me rolling, bro.
But Chuck, I disagree.
Okay.
You know, I think this is one of those rare cases where he legitimately had no idea about it.
Okay, he might not know how much they cost.
I think he knew an ad was being shot. And he was like, okay,
Yes.
whatever. And then when that bill came through, you're like,
Okay. I can rock with that.
you were popping bottles. Ain't no one told you said you were getting something to eat. I thought you were getting like a McDonald's double cheeseburger. You went out here and got two 24-ounce fillets.
Hey man, hey, you mind getting me a meal? You order what?
This is what.
And it's not even only that. I mean, they raked her around on the coals about the $300+ million she did on the private jets, like the lavish upgrades of the jets and all that. She was like, "Oh, that's not an updated picture." Even if it's not, if it look anything like this,
I think Trump also knew at this point she was starting to take too much heat from Republicans. And it was going to become more and more toxic. Yeah. So it was time for he's got enough problems he's got to worry about. She won't going to be another one when I can easily swap them out.
Well, they said that he called around after that congressional hearing and talked to a few of them and was gauging, the temperature in the room and how everyone felt. And I think you're exactly right. At this point, she has way too much. I mean, minus the killings, the way the department was running. They were asking for more money to do what they needed to do. And you have these reports of you just blowing money.
How much did that horse cost for that commercial?
Bruh. Trump was like, man, I did a commercial on Trump watches last week and it only cost me about $200,000. How many commercials?
How you spent $220 million?
How you spend $220 million on a commercial? Like, did you buy it? Was this a Super Bowl?
Bruh.
And then it got to a point, even with the alleged allegations with the dude Corey Lewandowski.
Corey Lewandowski. Listen, Trump, Corey. What was crazy about that? They're blatantly asking, "Did you have sex with this man?" And her husband right over her shoulder,
bruh. And she can't even say a yes or no.
No, she did not even come close to saying a definitive no.
I would have been like, bruh,
no, I ain't had sex with this man.
But also, our congressional members be messy. Between that piece and then watching them question Hillary at the Epstein pieces, how did you feel when you saw?
It was appropriate questioning.
Yeah, it was
for Kristi because of all of the crap that Corey was already in.
Yep,
and the access. He was no more than what Elon Musk was as a special federal employee. But you sitting here and questioning DHS agents over here firing people. You don't have any power. Who are you?
Letting you just run amok and you don't even have the power to do it. Plus you come with a litany of accusations and things that you have done. And now you found another back end way to just have him in the department. Yeah, you screwed that man. That was a wild conversation that was a wild ride home after that hearing.
That's why when Manny was like, "Oh, you know who's happy she not coming home?" I thought, you said that. My first one was her husband.
Oh no, brother.
But the dogs as well.
Hey, shout out to the dogs, man. And Drake say for all the dogs.
Do all dogs go to heaven?
Hey.
I don't know.
Hey.
Hey, but at least, you know what? But at least she failed up or at least sideways. Because now she's on the Shield of Americas.
I, too, would like to be a part of the Shields of America.
I want to be on the board of peace.
Yeah.
They got $10 billion.
Oh, yeah. They got money to blow.
They got money to blow.
Yeah. Send me where the money at. If y'all can just spend $220 million on commercial, I don't even need all that. Just give me one. And I can make it shake. We in DC? Oh yeah. You ain't got to worry about me. But I will say, so just to close this out, that Trump has selected her replacement. And before I name her replacement, I just want to ask you guys a question. When it comes to being qualified for a position, I want to describe two people to you. And I would like for you guys to let me know which one is qualified and which is not. Person one behind door one.
Wait. Before, well, who are we selecting for? Ourselves personally or for the country? Because
for the country.
For
the country. To do anything for the country.
Okay.
In an official federal capacity.
All right, let me put my manager hat on.
Would it be person behind door number one, graduated top of their class at Harvard and top of their class at Harvard Law School, was an editor of the Harvard Law Review, has 20 years experience as a lawyer, and 10 years experience as a federal judge. That's person number one, behind door number one. Person number two. Person number two, high school diploma, 2-year community college degree in construction management.
Okay.
No military or law enforcement experience. Was a cow-calf rancher and inherited a plumbing business from his father. That's person number two.
Let me get this straight. What are we hiring them for?
That's what I was about to ask. Is this for HUD?
The Department of Agriculture, Infrastructure?
Let's say option one would be to run Homeland Security.
Okay.
Person one or person two?
If I'm doing the interview and looking over the resume and I'm not using LinkedIn because Hoffman is a creep, I'm definitely going to pick the credentials of person number one. They know the law.
Manny?
I'm going to pick person number two because I just think it is what the people of America deserve at this point.
What about if it was for the Supreme Court?
Oh, well, you know what? No one... it's person number one. So it's gotten so bad I can't even turn that into an appropriate joke.
Well, the reason why I asked you guys is because person number one is Ketanji Brown Jackson, which at the time when she was nominated for Supreme Court, she was named a DEI hire. Person number two is Markwayne Mullins, who Trump has named as head or his nominee for head of the Department of Homeland Security. Now, I don't understand. This goalpost has wheels on it.
No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
This goalpost is just like they had in the SEC to keep them from getting torn down. It's retractable, and that joint go down to the ground when they want it to.
How in God's name could a person with the credentials of Miss Jackson be considered a DEI hire? And the man that Trump has named, I may say that he's just as less qualified as Kristi Noem was.
But he's
before you go, Manny. It was stated at the very beginning of this podcast, she's a black woman. Number two, all three of us are more qualified.
This is also factually correct.
Oh boy. Go ahead, man.
I just have a couple of questions for Markwayne. First off, how did your parents come up with the name Markwayne? I got questions. It's strange.
Because his daddy loved John Wayne.
Okay.
Or his mama didn't know who his daddy was, and it could have been between Mark or Wayne. And Mark Wayne.
So here's why the move doesn't make sense to me. Absent all his credentials. First off, the process of getting 60 votes to get anyone confirmed is going to be interesting, if not impossible, because I just don't see how it happens. So that's problem one with doing this. Problem two is now in doing this, Trump, you have now created a vacancy in the Senate where you already had fleeting numbers to get anything done. It would have made a whole lot more sense to me if he nominated somebody who was not in Congress.
Yeah.
So to pull from the Senate, where you have a margin of like 1, maybe 2, depending on the issue, you now take that down by 1 for someone who was always on your side. You want to do something crazy, you nominate Rand Paul, because at least that's somebody who's not completely on your side. So you now put that into play. And Oklahoma is still very much a red state. But with everything going on, and within 30 days, the governor has to appoint somebody who is a Republican. Now, obviously, there'll probably be forces at work to figure that piece out. But I think he has a long path to get confirmed, and it just further throws Congress into a standstill for the next year, in a year where we kind of need them active if they're going to serve as some level of check or balance in this three-way balance we have between the legislative, executive, and judicial branches of government.
Allegedly.
Well,
Manny, go ahead, Jeezy. I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say, well, just for knowledge, he came up, Manny, with the name. His parents came up with the name Mark Wayne because he's named after his uncles, and his mom put both of his uncles' names on his birth certificate, intending to later pick one of the names, but she never did.
I ain't gonna put no smut on her name.
All I'm saying is nothing you just told me dissuaded anything you said previously about why he's named Mark Wayne. That's all I'm saying.
What I was gonna say is, Manny, you're 1,000% correct in the assessment of why would you pick him and how it hinders and hurts the objective. But you're thinking logically.
Oh, God, I got to stop doing that, man.
It's hard to.
You're thinking logically because what he sees is another mouthpiece for my agenda.
Yep.
Which is very interesting because you're starting to sway on this agenda, because on Friday, look good buddy here, you were out on this podium talking about how, there's illegals here, but there's some good ones here that we love. We love these good illegals. They just got to
work our farms and our luncheonettes.
What is a luncheonette,
bruh? I'm still trying to figure that out.
I know what a kitchenette is.
Right.
Is that what they used to call diners? Is that what they? Bruh, I have no clue. I've never heard of a luncheonette.
We just want to get the criminals and the murderers and there's some people out there with the mentals. The mentals are just terrible.
You can't even speak to them. He said that. I was like, bro,
what?
You can't even speak to him.
So it is very interesting, very interesting. So it makes sense because Mark Wayne, for those who don't know, was about to get in the fight.
Oh, bro.
Oh yeah.
On the floor
with the AFL-CIO.
Yes.
Leader.
I ain't never in my life, bro.
And Bernie Sanders had to step in and, got his Bernie was, no, you cannot do this. We got to act like we have some sense and some decorum. And look, Bernie, shut up.
Mark Wayne. Well, first off, Mark Wayne was a wrestler. So if you really wanted that smoke, I'm sorry, MMA. If you really wanted that smoke,
was he the yellow peanut?
If you really wanted to fight him, if you were able to be physically stopped by Bernie Sanders, sir,
you won't trying to do nothing.
Sir, you won't really trying to do nothing.
Hey, but shout out to homie though, because he was like, look,
Bernie on the low might be lifted. He's like, I'm ready for this.
Bernie got two steps away from that hip being needed replaced. Bernie sit down somewhere.
He won Mitch McConnell fall. They said Mitch in the wheelchair now, bro. Slow motion. They got to stop him, bro. They had to stop him from walking.
What did y'all see that video where they were asking Mitch about calling the what was it? Calling something to committee.
Yeah, for them to do Save Act or whatever.
Yeah, the Save Act. Yeah. He froze up.
Yep.
On that hard reset. Hey, every time he hit a hard reset, the staffers be like, okay, give us a minute, y'all. Hold on. Like they gotta unplug them and plug them back in.
Gotta take the cartridge out, blow on it like it's a Nintendo.
Man, why is our politics this funny?
And he's not even the oldest person in Congress.
No.
Sad, bro.
Listen, I say this with the most sincere and loving and endearing heart. Maxine Waters, go home.
Go home.
The other older black man who's the oldest person in Congress, go home.
Clyburn, he need to go.
If you were able to be in if you were able to be in high school or middle school with our current president,
there was no middle school for them.
It's all one building.
That's when they called it grade school.
Grade school.
You gotta go. I'm tired of y'all calling Maxine Waters auntie. She isn't. She's grandma, great grandma.
No, she's great grandma, great grandma. Go home, Nancy Pelosi.
Go home.
You look like you had 3 too many shots of Botox to the face.
Well, Nancy is going home. She is.
No, she should have been home.
She should have been home.
She should have been home.
But at least she going now.
She should have never even came back after her husband got attacked. She should have already been gone before then. But when her husband got attacked, go home and be a good wife. Tend to your man.
Maybe you home, he wouldn't have got hit. No, he's still.
Now, come on, geez.
No, she would have got hit if she was home.
He wouldn't have got hit.
But go home, y'all. Like, and this is on both sides of the aisle. This is not any particular.
I would be so for them coming up with an age and term limit for these people. Please, if retirement is 65, you need to be going home by 65. If you have no connection with the current citizens of America, you just don't.
Do like the other elders of, or as my church they say, the seasoned saints.
Mm-hmm. Seasoned saints
that we do in the community. Go work at the Board of Elections. Like if
you gotta go.
Please.
Well, Mark Wayne, you got a long road ahead, man, and we'll see how that goes from you. Good luck. He should have. Why he make like Tom Homan? Like Borders are really in a real position. Just make Tom Homan the current. Like I don't get it.
At least he comes more qualified.
And he obviously knows what he's doing to a degree. I believe he's done it before in some capacity under the Obama administration. Like he knows what he's doing.
Yes.
Why not I think that if you put him in, I mean, when he went to Minnesota and cleaned things up, I don't think from both sides of the aisle you heard a single complaint.
Exactly.
He would
definitely have an easier path to confirmation
for sure. And
definitely.
Whatever. It's Trump, so we'll see what happens. But at this point in our episode, you would have thought we've already named about 3 or 4 pickles by now, but
we got a whole jar.
We are Mount Olive plant right now.
There's 8 billion people that are options for being pickles right now.
Bruh, but we've reached that point of our episode where we have reached the pickle of the week.
We got your pickle. We got your pickle. We got your pickle.
All right. I'm going to keep this short and to the point, but the pickle for the week goes to Tony Gonzalez. And no, I'm not talking about the tight end, former tight end, I think Hall of Fame. No, is he?
Yes, Hall of Fame.
I want to make sure he was in the Hall. Yeah, I'm not talking about that Tony Gonzalez. I'm talking about the congressman from Texas, Tony Gonzalez, who he abruptly ended his re-election bid after the scandal that he continued to lie about with an alleged relationship. He finally came out and admitted that he did have that relationship with the young woman who I believe is no longer with her. She committed suicide due to some personal things, but he came out and was like, no, I didn't do it. I'm not stepping down. I'm not doing this. I'm continuing to go forward with re-election, which in the primary, he did not win, which I believe it was heading into a runoff. But I'm pretty sure now with him, yeah, at this point it's done. Which it was alleged that the husband of the young lady who committed suicide was shocked to hear him finally admit that this actually was going on, which that might actually got to suck that, your wife's not here. Now you hear that your wife was having this affair with someone who she was working for, which this is totally against ethics in Congress to begin with, which I'm sure he's not the only one. But brother, you in a pickle. You in a pickle.
Good luck.
Yeah.
And I would feed him some knuckle sandwiches to go along with that pickle if I was that woman's husband.
Oh, hey, I'm about to give you a nice fish sandwich.
Get the fisticuffs.
Fist. with a couple of pickles right on top. So,
Yes, sir.
Tony, you in a bind, brother. You in a pickle. He's apologized to his wife and his family, which they all do. And yeah, good luck, man. With the remaining time that you have in Congress, hopefully you can get something done positive and keep your hands off people you ain't supposed to be touching. So yeah,
and that representative who was saying that he should not resign because they need his vote, I want you to get punched in the throat too.
Oh,
Can't remember who they got.
Mike Johnson to that list as well too.
Oh yeah, Mike Johnson too. Yeah,
you're a little nasty bastard too, because you love to talk about all that. We got to do the right thing, and Christ always leads us to do what's right for the people. You know that this man was doing this. You know the right thing for him to do was to step down, and the reason why you weren't for that is because of the slim majority that you have. I ain't have much respect for you to begin with, but definitely don't have nothing for you now.
Bingo.
So, with that being said, we've reached the conclusion of our episode, and this is the time where we give you our spotlights of the week. So, my brothers, what spotlight do you have? I'll go with Manny first. Who you guys in the spotlight this week, brother?
So, I wanted to circle back because we didn't have time to touch it. Pause. At the beginning segment, and
I wish we had the video out for this so everybody could see my face.
But someone else who could also be considered in a pickle is Phil Berger, the Senate President pro temp in North Carolina. He had a very, very tough primary, and it ended the night with him being down by 2 votes.
Wow, bro.
And
listen, people. And I'm sorry to cut you off, Manny, but I think this is a very important point to make. Your vote counts,
bro. Prime example. Prime example.
Get off your butt and go vote. Okay, there you go.
So 2 votes. Now they've counted the provisional ballots, and now Phil Berger is down 23 votes. So they are now heading into a recount. And this will be interesting to play out because there were lots of conversations last time around Jefferson Griffin and the Supreme Court and what votes were going to count and which ones weren't going to count. And the precedent that race has set is now going to be put to the test here on what votes count and what votes don't count. This will be interesting, not only just because of this race and who's in this race, but what implications it will set for the larger Senate race coming in November with Whatley and Cooper. What makes this the most interesting is the reason. And a lot of it pretty much comes down to, in 2023, there was legislations put up for 4 North Carolina casinos, including one in Rockingham County. Page has opposed the casino. And it was that local issue that really got everything riled up. So if Phil Berger loses, the North Carolina Republican Party will be choosing a new leader. And they haven't done so pretty much since 2011 when he took over the role. So it's going to be a tough one, but interesting to watch over the next couple of weeks. It'll be interesting to see when this race is officially decided. But that is my spotlight of the week.
Okay. My brother Chuck, what you got?
Yes, sir. So my spotlight is a little less tough. I don't say tough, but draining on our emotions and our mentals. I want to talk about the World Baseball Classic. For those who don't know, the World Baseball Classic is a competition where countries around the world come together for a couple of weeks to crown the true world champion of baseball. And it is going on right now. Very fun time. Although this can be easily disputed, baseball is still said to be America's pastime, although that is
up
football.
for debate.
No, it's not debate. them TV numbers in those rights deals definitely show it's not baseball, but it is my first love. But what I want to talk about is some of the biggest MLB stars are not participating in the World Baseball Classic this year. And that is due to an insurance issue that has come up where the sole insurance company is restricting some guys from playing and not insuring them or covering them with insurance to play in the Classic. So a couple of years ago, Edwin Diaz and Jose Altuve were injured during the tournament. And because they were injured during the tournament, the insurance company had to pay their clubs to compensate for their salaries in this for being injured in this tournament. Well, Jose Altuve and Edwin Diaz had big contracts.
Yep.
And because of them having big contracts and such large payouts, insurance companies was like, hey, if your contract is at a certain level, we're not insuring you and you're not going to be able to play. For you to be able to play, you have to have insurance. So just the other night, the Brazilian team was going up against Team USA. And on this Brazilian team, there was a 17-year-old high schooler who was pitching against Aaron Judge. And if you don't know who Aaron Judge is one of the perennial players in Major League Baseball, two-time MVP, 6'7", gargantuan man who makes a 35-inch bat look like a toothpick in his hand. Just he's a Goliath.
He's a big guy.
Yeah. And so you would not normally see a 17-year-old high schooler going against I want to say Aaron Judge has been in the league at least 10 years. He's 60-plus home runs, like a monster of a player. Interestingly enough, the young man did end up forcing Aaron Judge to ground into a double play. But I wanted to bring attention to this because as we have discussed about the war in Iran, part of the reason the Strait of Hormuz is in such contention because many of the insurance companies have pulled their coverage on these ships and liners. So if they ain't got insurance, guess what? They're not selling because if they get sunk and go down, that's the company. The company
Somebody got to write that check.
Somebody gonna write that check. So it was just very interesting that this issue is going on. And then Bryce Harper came out and made a point of wanting to get baseball back in the Olympics, where it was for a short period of time and then gone away. He was like, World Baseball Classic is cool, but everybody knows the Olympics is where it's really at. I like the World Baseball Classic. It's fun. It's very exciting. And I know for sure they're going to get this insurance issue fixed. First and foremost, you can't just have one company.
Yeah.
Monopolies are not conducive to a very competitive balance. So that's my spotlight.
All right. Well, my spotlight is something that I've spoken about on multiple occasions here on the pod, and I think it's safe to say that I am the resident moon landing skeptic here at Partner Politics. But my spotlight is centered around the moon landing. It was reported that NASA has pushed out their moon mission Artemis, the Artemis program. It was supposed to be going until 2026, 2028. But they've hit some snags where the spacecraft heat shield is having issues. The SpaceX Moonlander development is having issues. They're now trying to develop new spacesuits. So it's pushed back. So I believe the first front was that they were going to go on the backside of the moon or circle on the backside of the moon that they have not previously done. And then the next was to actually land a crew on the moon. Well, that landing is not going to happen. They're going to go with trying to actually get a rover on the moon and then the landing. So, yeah. As somebody, again, your resident moon landing skeptic, I don't understand how in the 60s we went with a dash made out of calculator keys, landline phone, duct tape, and a few men. We sent it up to the moon successfully, got it back down safely, and 40-something plus years later, we just seem to struggle and can't do it with the technology that we have. So they have pushed this out again. There seems to have been a race at a time with trying to get this done before another country, but it's just not happening. So, we'll see what updates we have. I believe that I can't remember when is it later on this year? I think that in September they're supposed to do the trip around or whatever.
Yep.
They're trying to get that done, but I'm pretty sure that there'll be some delays in that as well too. So, as a skeptic here, I'm not surprised, and I'll keep my eye on it to let you guys know.
Like I have the solution to your problem, brother.
Okay.
We've said it before, and I think it's a continuing theme. I doubt they have any black women helping like they did the first time when they went to the moon.
Those hidden figures.
Those hidden figures.
You need some hidden figures.
And I just want to give a shout out because it is Women's History Month. That's what part of the reason. Listen, double entendre, don't even ask me how. Part of the reason I kept emphasizing that point. But I have one other question. You said the other side of the moon. As a Transformer fan, it's the dark side of the moon.
Dark side.
And I wondered if they got approval from Optimus to go out there.
Did not. That's why they're struggling.
Or Optimus or whatever's on that other side, that dark side, got signal what we were trying to do and send that signal back and say, hey, look.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. Please don't do it. So yeah, that's my spotlight of the week. If y'all y'all seem to be struggling to get to the moon, just go down in the ocean.
Bruh.
And that's the problem they don't want.
We've put more people in space than have been down to the bottom of the ocean.
Allegedly.
There we go. Here we go.
Listen, I've watched the Discovery Channel, and I used to watch TLC when it was the Learning Channel and not the Foolishness Channel.
Yep.
Stay out that ocean.
Hey,
leave folks alone. Just clean my shrimp and give me some mussels and some scallops. leave the ocean alone.
Instead of worried about going to space or going as deep as we possibly can in the ocean, let's just explore what we can do right here.
Like healthcare, curing cancer,
education, medical advances.
I don't know.
Reduce prescription drug costs.
Yeah, make whatever you gave Magic Johnson accessible to all the other people.
Stop.
Cure cancer for sure. Well, never mind.
Never mind.
I was trying to throw the alley.
Listen, I saw it and I just finger rolled it in. I ain't even took it.
But to our listeners, we appreciate you listening in to this episode. We know it was a bit longer than normal, but hey, when you got this much chaos, it takes a while to get through it. So to our listeners, we hope this episode finds you in great spirit. We thank you for tuning in, brothers. All hearts and minds clear. We good?
All clear.
All right.
That's all staying.
Well, listeners, we'll see you at the next episode, and we thank you for tuning in. So take care.